This looks terrible. These gotta go. This soil has problems. Something needs to change here.
Yeah, okay.
You landscape architects.
Yeah, okay. We'll come up with something. We worked in this yard and kind of remodeled it about 14 years ago, right?
Correct. You even redid the irrigation.
And so now, 14 years later, she wants to look at everything and make some necessary improvements and show us things that have worked well and not worked well. Some of those involve soil, and that's why we brought Shannon and Chip. He's an expert on soil. Just describe the types of things you'd like us to address.
When I built these 4 raised beds, I had soil brought in. I never have thought the soil was good enough that was in there. Now, each year I put bags and bags of compost on the top. But I think my garden could do better if the soil was better. If you guys want to dig up right there and look at it, that'd be fine.
You want to take a soil sample from 3 different parts of whatever area you're sampling. You want to avoid any kind of mulch or anything that's on top because you can't really break that down and really see what's going on in the soil. The soil seems fluffy and aerated, but there could be anything happening in there microbially. If this was overwatered, we'd see less soil life for sure. And if we did see any, it might be like ciliates because this could be anaerobic soil. I don't think it's anaerobic. It's pretty moist, but really when something's really waterlogged, you can tell it's at the worst case, like kind of like a mud puddle or really, really compact, like clay and no air holes. So I'm kind of curious as to why this isn't doing well, because at first glance and also scooping it, it seems to be aerated. That's the 3rd spot, so we're good.
These plants you put in the 14 years ago, see how big they are? You used to be able to see the roses back there. They're humongous.
Yeah. They've gotten too big. That's Rhaphilepis minor, which is a white blooming raph that we would hope in this case would stay about this size, but
they're just humongous.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I'm thinking maybe have to take them out and replace them with something else.
Yeah, something more appropriate in size.
Some of the lily of the Nile has also died. That's mostly because of heat.
You get heat, problematic heat, real close to walkways, and you'll see that a lot of times in lawns where it's hard to keep the lawn green right next to the walkway because of that reflected heat.
And here, I pulled those out just because it became too much.
The Rhaphilepis minor, yeah, okay.
All right, and I'm thinking something needs to change here.
Yeah, okay.
You landscape architects.
Yeah, okay. We'll come up with something.
The other place I think I've got some soil issues is right in here. So you had plants here, the red ones that grow really big. The sprinklers broke, and I didn't notice it. It was July. They all died. So I replaced them with these things, thinking they'd be big and kind of exotic looking. And they've been in the ground now for about 4 or 5 years, and that's as big as they've gotten.
Huh.
Soil issues.
So you mentioned exotic looking, so you
Tropical.
would like the tropical look here?
No, whatever matches the yard. Again, we're back to...
Well, tropical wouldn't match the yard, but we could do a little bit of tropical.
No. See, that's now you see why I called you, John.
Okay.
Is because I know it's wrong.
And what do you think of these Pittosporum wheelers?
They're fine, I guess.
A lot of times what you find after 14 years is a lot of the plants have gotten a little too big and, aren't performing exactly optimally for the situation. It would be clear that you'd want to screen that back fence so, those plants that are tall there seem appropriate, but if you're either tired of them or it looks like somebody has to prune these to keep them.
Yeah, they do. They prune them all the time.
And I'd prefer to try to pick plants that you don't have to prune all the time and let them grow their natural form rather than, I call this clubbing them into submission.
And they look like they've been clubbed into submission, frankly.
So maybe we want to take
some
out
of
the
these
plants that have been clubbed so much over the years, and we're kind of tired of that look, remembering all our shapes from geometry.
Right.
I had Mr. Gaines. I don't know who you had.
I don't remember.
It looks like it's pretty wet back here, honestly, and it gets a lot of shade, and you can tell by the moss that it might be a little bit waterlogged. Oh my gosh, actually, it's very compact, like sword in the stone kind of compact. Okay, so yeah, we're still gonna try to get down a couple of inches, but already it's pretty clay, it's pretty compact, so it'll be interesting to see what we find. So moss likes to grow in kind of northern aspects and really enjoys shade and also water. So when you're growing other plants, it's not really like the best indicator. It means it might be too wet for too long, and that they might not be getting enough sun.
I don't know if we should keep that apricot tree in there or not.
How's it do? Does it
Well,
produce
it's
any?
been in there about 3 years, and it's finally getting some sun because it's getting tall enough.
Apricot is a nice tree, I think.
I think so too, and it's a Blenheim. And I thought, well, if it grows, but look at this. There's, what is this? I need to cut that out.
Where'd that come from?
Before, there was a big tall pine tree right here, and these azaleas did fine. As you can see, this back one has died.
Yeah.
And I don't know if the azaleas are the right thing for right here anymore or what.
I bet we could get them to grow, optimize the soil. Even if they get a little too much sun, usually by feeding them properly, we can get them to grow. Two things I think are important with azaleas is strategic timing of the pruning combined with the proper feeding makes them much lusher and not so leggy.
Yeah, that's really leggy. And then coming around the corner, that plant is dead. Something needs to go in there that's going to be like about 8 feet high and get really wide, or maybe it's multiple plants. I just don't know. But that has been an area that I really don't know what to do with. And it's my main view from my kitchen is looking at that dead plant.
Yeah, we can fix that. How long ago did that die?
About 2-3 years ago, and the gardener has not taken it out.
Do you have any idea why it died?
I don't. It just died, and I don't have an explanation.
Yeah, we could do something a little more special, I think. Tropical might be an appropriate spot right behind a water feature.
Yeah, it's a water feature. Now, this guy I put in, he was only, a little 1-galloner.
Yeah,
He's
that's
growing.
Japanese Aurelia.
He's growing, slowly, obviously.
Even something like that, if you like Japanese Aurelia, even more of it, where
That might look nice.
a planting of it would work.
Yeah, something special, I think. Because you've got 2 fences that are ugly,
Yeah.
and then you have this water feature, and that's my main view. That's really needs to be fixed.
This soil almost looks like concrete, honestly. Yeah, it's like hard pan, which is soil that's really, really compacted almost to the point where it looks like concrete. It's okay. It's kind of mossy also. Yeah. Uh-oh, and the dog found us, so we better be quick. I would expect it to be pretty devoid of life. And a lot of clay, because clay can kind of act like concrete, like this is looking like, and it doesn't really appear that there's much aeration in here. It's pretty easy to see why plants could be struggling back here.
Come here, little guy. Oh, there you are. I told you dogs just love my yard. If you ever need a babysitter, let me know. So that's the big items in the backyard. So now we'll have to go to the front yard. I put this tree in, John, because I wanted to have something that grows really wide. And the problem with the tree is the grasshoppers love it.
Yeah.
Each spring they strip it.
Might be army worms. I see that on these all the time. Do you see the grasshoppers, or are you
I
just
do see
assuming? Oh, you've
grasshoppers.
seen grasshoppers.
But it could be both.
Yeah. That is a problem with this type of redbud. You have another redbud over there.
I have 5. Let's go over and look at them.
This privet hedge is doing what you want it to?
Yeah, I
here?
like
Okay.
this hedge.
Okay.
Look at the difference in the height.
Yeah. Huh. They almost look like different trees, huh?
Yes. I don't know, and I was going to ask you, do I just prune them down to all the same height?
You could use pruning to make them look the same, and that is the idea here. They're supposed to all look
Yeah, they were
similar.
supposed to be the same, yeah.
It looks like the bloom is fantastic on these because you see the seed pods. That comes after. You must notice a really nice bloom in the spring.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
We have a guy I could refer you to
Okay.
to skillfully prune those to where they all look similar, and I think it's doable.
And then I need somebody to prune my peach tree in a decent way.
And he can do that too.
Yeah.
I would assume she has some life in the soil. Usually that's the case, even in soil that isn't as good as it can be. So obviously we're going to find bacteria, right? It's everywhere.
I think we would definitely find bacteria.
And not much in the higher life forms. The problems in her garden didn't really look to me like they were caused by poor soil, although she hadn't made a lot of efforts to build the soil over the years. So I'm thinking we're going to kind of find an average soil that we can improve dramatically.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, because she was mentioning to us that she was having trouble germinating a bunch of the veggies. So this is from specifically her veggie box.
And in the vegetable areas, you know, you need really good soil, and so we're going to try to help her and make it excellent soil. But I'm assuming even in those boxes that it's at least okay right now.
Yeah, there'll always be
Germination
some
is
fungi.
usually, well, it can be related to soil, but it's usually related to how you keep the seeds moist. You know?
Yeah,
And-
yeah,
and-
that's true.
and the-
Actually, we
and
didn't
the
ask her
temperatures.
about that. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm not seeing fungi. But I'm not surprised at what we're seeing in Sherry's right now because she said that she's really having trouble getting something to grow, and there's not much going on at all in there. So
When you did this 14 years ago, you put in the mini bottle brush.
Oh,
And of course, the Bermuda lawn grew into it. There was no way to get that all cleaned out. And so therefore, I pulled it out. Then I spent 2 or 3 years just having flowers in here. That looked terrible. And then I thought, well, maybe roses. Well, they don't look good either. So now I need landscape architects to figure out what to put in this hole that's like 20 feet long and 4 feet wide. It's almost like a parking strip.
Okay, we'll address that. And the
then
rest of
that's
the
it.
stuff you're pretty happy with?
Well, I think it looks okay, even though they've, created little boxes out of everything.
Yeah.
So this is the last soil that we're testing, and it's from Sherry's house, and it was a very mossy spot near the house that looked like it might have been a little bit waterlogged and a lot of shade. Yep, not seeing anything of interest. All just kind of mineral or like little plant parts. Yeah, she doesn't have any nematodes. Or fungi. Yeah, I mean, we could call it with Sherry's garden, like there's not that much going on biologically, except bacteria.
So Sherry's yard has mostly just the lowest form of life, so it's bacterial-based soil, and we want to increase the complexity. So we'll be suggesting some additives to build more complex life, not just bacteria.
Yeah, we want to find good protozoa and nematodes and fungi in there too, and we really aren't seeing that, which is what we predicted because she was having trouble growing her vegetables. So we're going to need to add a bunch of good life to the soil with John and Bob's. Yeah.
So we walked around with Sherry. She voiced her concerns and frustrations about her garden. We're going to try to address those. If you'd like to see how dramatically we can improve things there and build better soil, then subscribe to our channel.
Please like this video, leave us a little comment below, and subscribe to John's YouTube channel because we're putting out fun stuff like this every week.